Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be doing a spoiler-free review on season 2 of The Umbrella Academy. Now, before I get started, please like this video, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a video. And before I get started, I do have a GoFundMe link down in the description box. This is for a friend of the family who is currently suffering from brain aneurysm. It was definitely a surprise to everyone. This happened out of nowhere and he cannot function the way that he used to. Please, if you can at least give $1 or $2, that would be great. That would really help out these friends of ours who are going through this rough transition in their life right now. Thank you so much. Now let's go ahead and get into this review. As a quick recap for the end of season 1, we see that Vanya is causing this apocalypse by destroying the moon, and so 5 suggests to the rest of the family that they can time travel in order to help save the world and help Vanya understand her powers and to control them, of course. But this causes a disruption in the timeline, and this is where we end up being at the beginning of season 2, where all of these characters have time traveled back to 1963. And it was interesting to see this sort of the dynamics and the new relationships that they developed landing into 1963 in Dallas, Texas. Now, some of these characters have lived there for a while, some years, while 5 was the last one to land within this timeline. So this definitely gives the family an opportunity to band together and figure out what and who causes this doomsday and how to stop it. They finally gave Allison something to do. Now she has a purpose in season 2. She has a mission and she's battling racism. As you know, they time traveled back to 1963. She has a husband and she's dealing with that whole thing. In the beginning, she couldn't speak. She suppressed a lot of her powers until she actually had to use them. And it's just interesting to see the relationships that she's built and how she fell so easily into, she actually fit very easily into 1963, believe it or not. It was just kind of weird to see how well she was adjusting to what was going on during that time. You see a lot of protests, of which this season definitely caters to what's going on today, what's happening in today's time with a lot of the protests that we have going on. So I thought that that was very interesting. And yeah, everything was very genuine as far as the intentions behind that. I'm glad that they finally gave her something to do, and it made me appreciate her character a little bit more this season. Speaking of growth, let's talk about Vanya, one of my favorite characters. She had a very interesting storyline and a new purpose, and I won't reveal that since it's a spoiler-free review, but it was interesting to see her growth and more of her control. And we know that, you know, in season 1 she was a little bit off-putting in my opinion, but very sweet, very kind. See more of that and less of the scarier side, and I'll just leave it at that. With Luther this season, for some reason I just continue to empathize with him. Same thing that I did in season 1. I think he's just one of those big teddy bears who needs a hug. He's so sweet. There were a lot of references within this, some reminiscent of Fight Club, and that's sort of the situation that he was put in during the throwback of the timeline. And it was just interesting to see him kind of harden and he wasn't really willing to save the world like some of his family members were. And so it was very interesting to see that dynamic, and Diego kind of being in the corner convincing him that, hey, this is the thing that we need to be doing. We need to be using our abilities, and he's just not really interested during this time around. So it was kind of interesting to see that part. There is still things that are quite the same from season 1. I will say he's still very much in love with Allison, but I will say he kind of does seem like a new character, and he has a lot of comedic moments. A lot more, I think, than he did in season 1. Moving on to Diego, they gave him a lot to do this season as well, because he was sort of in the background along with Allison in season 1, which kind of almost made him my least favorite character, I will say. He's still that badass vigilante, kind of reminiscent of Wolverine, just a nicer version of Wolverine. I just couldn't get enough of him this season, and I loved his determination, and I love the character that he has become, and he has a very well-written mission. I do thank the writers for making that clear this season, and I hope they do keep that up in season 3. But who he meets along the way in 1963 is very interesting, and I have to say that she is she's become easily my top favorite character in this series. Lila is a love interest to Diego, and she fits so perfectly, not only with him, and they match each other's craziness and chaoticness, but she fits so easily into the show. She was a wonderful find, and I can't wait to see more of her. I can do a spoiler review if you guys want me to. Just make sure you hit the like button and comment down below letting me know that you would like a spoiler video. But yeah, she's very psychotic and crazy, and it's just so, I'm obsessed with her. I was obsessed with her character throughout. She's wonderful, calculated, and definitely fitting to Diego's character, and has an interesting relationship with the handler that I will not reveal. 5 was amazing this season. My God, who is this kid who was able to embody this old man? Like, all the rebuttals that he had and the sarcasm and just his ability to keep up with all the adults in the group, even though he's the oldest one, technically. And I would also argue maybe the smartest one too. He knows what he's doing, even though he kind of messed up this time around by sending them back in time. He knew the risk of doing that, right? But I mean, whatever. He's still trying to figure things out and get the group back together and get them back to 2019 while also trying to save the world from Vanya's destruction. And he's sort of the glue that keeps the group together. Therefore, he is the leader. And in a way, I will say that they all look to him. And our dear sweet Ben actually had a lot more to do this season. Of course, we know he's dead. He's a ghost. He's basically there to irritate the crap out of Klaus, one of my favorite characters. Klaus. Oh, Klaus is a favorite of mine. I just couldn't get enough of him. And his character is just so well written. And the actor knows what he's doing. They gave him so much to do, and he becomes this leader, this sort of prophet of a cult. Of course, ends up not being able to get away from these people. Anything he says, anything he does, they just eat it up, and it's hilarious. And we get to see him really struggle this season, being thrown back into that timeline, being faced with his lover, trying to convince him not to go to the war, of which didn't end so well. And just seeing that emotional struggle was very heartfelt. I really felt bad for Klaus. But as always, he was the comedic relief, one of the comedic reliefs within the show. I think everybody had some wonderful comedic elements that they added within their performance, but Klaus is just, no one can really top him in my opinion. His relationship with Ben is very interesting. I love the banter back and forth. I love that Ben irritates the crap out of Klaus, but then also tries to talk sense into him, and I just love what they did with Ben. He has a wonderful arc in the story and plays a big role with saving Vanya. And I'll leave it at that. In the show, we have this band of Swiss assassins. They're new villains in addition to the handler, and they are ruthless, and I love it. They are unforgiving. Like, they would basically kill anybody that, that got in the way. Hardly ever spoke. I don't think they ever spoke I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't remember them having lines really, but they were there to wreak some havoc. I really enjoyed their characters, and they added new stakes to the story, of which heightened it and made it more interesting than it was in the first season. I thought these villains this time around were actually a lot better than the villains in season 1. Really enjoy the action sequences, and it starts off at the very beginning, action-packed, and I love it. I love when they just when films and TV series are able to get to the point with action. I love it. I'm heavily invested in it immediately. And not only with the action, but also a wonderful soundtrack. They did a wonderful job with the soundtrack. I love how it didn't overshadow the story nor the mission. A lot of shows nowadays put in good music that doesn't necessarily fit the tone of the show. That's a huge problem, but no, not with the Umbrella Academy. The writing for season 2 was definitely a lot better than season 1. Season 1 started off really slow. I would say maybe episodes 1 through 3, maybe even 4. Even then, 4 through 10 just kind of didn't really know where it was going to go with that. I think they were trying to find their footing, which is okay. But luckily, the writing was good enough to where we could just continue watching. It was binge-worthy, I will say. A little more binge-worthy than a lot of series that I've seen on Netflix. But season 2 is definitely binge-worthy. Binge the crap out of this show. Also helps that we know these characters. We know who they are. We know what makes them tick. We know their relationships with each other, like all of that. And it was so brilliantly established in season 1 that in season 2 they could actually afford to add more characters. They could actually afford to put in more music. It allowed for so much more as far as possibilities with the story. All these characters, I'm just so surprised they were able to fit within the chaos of the Umbrella Academy family's world. Okay, guys, I have nothing negative to say about this show. Yes, there's always room for improvement, but I just can't think of anything. At least not right now. But season 2 was excellent. I was so satisfied, and I'm gonna watch it again. Ready? I give season 2 of the Umbrella Academy a 10 out of 10. Yes, I said it. Wonderful show. Best show that I've watched since this whole coronavirus thing has happened. Fight me. What do you guys think, for those of you who have seen season 2 of the Umbrella Academy? For those of you who haven't yet, hop on it now. You will not be disappointed. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Please hit this like button down below for my video. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a video of mine. Please go ahead and go to the GoFundMe link in my description to help out my family friend. It would be much appreciated. Even $1 will definitely help. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next review. Let me know if you want me to do a spoiler review. I am game. Bye.